The Galactic Federation had existed for millions of cycles, shepherding countless species into the cosmic community. They had seen it all: the peaceful philosophers, the militant expansionists, the technological innovators. Every new species followed familiar patterns, except one. The message arrived at the Federation's Deep Space Monitoring Station Epsilon 9 during what humans would call a Tuesday. Senior observer Galactic, a crystalline being who had monitored first contact signals for over 3 centuries, froze all 6 of her sensor arrays when she processed the transmission. Greetings to the stars. We are humanity of Earth. We come in peace, but please, don't make us angry. You wouldn't like us when we're angry. Galactic ran the translation matrices 17 times. Each result was identical. In all her years of service, she had never encountered a first contact message that contained a warning. Species typically broadcast their achievements, their peaceful intentions, or their technological prowess. But a warning about their own nature. The Federation Council convened an emergency session. In the Grand Chamber of Voices, representatives from 10,000 civilizations debated the meaning of humanity's message. The Zoraxians, a species of energy beings, dismissed it as primitive posturing. The Moravian Collective suggested immediate containment protocols. The Ancient Ones, beings who had achieved digital ascension eons ago, counseled patience. "Let us observe," declared High Counselor Naveen, her holographic form shimming with concern. Perhaps this is simply a translation error or a cultural misunderstanding. For 3 solar cycles, the Federation watched. They saw humans wage war against themselves, then make peace. They witnessed humanity split the atom, then use that knowledge for both destruction and healing. They observed humans send primitive probes to their own solar system's edges, all while their politicians argued about resources and territories. The Federation's xenanthropologists were fascinated. Humans displayed unprecedented adaptability. Where other species specialized and evolved toward efficiency, humans remained frustratingly generalist. They could survive in almost any environment, learn almost any skill, and most worryingly, they seemed to thrive on challenge and adversity. The Cthair Dominion, a militant species known for their strict hierarchy and disdain for lesser races, grew increasingly agitated by the Federation's passive approach. In a private session of the Security Council, their Supreme Commander Zexnar made their position clear. "These humans mock us with their warning," the commander's translator projected. "They are barely capable of reaching their own moon, yet they dare to caution us. The Dominion recommends immediate intervention to show them their proper place in the cosmic order." Naveen's response was diplomatic but firm. "The Federation's policy on emerging species is clear. We observe, we guide when ready, we welcome when prepared. We do not intervene based on pride or perceived insult." But the Cthair were not known for their patience. As the Council debated, a Cthair scout fleet was already entering the Sol system, hidden from human detection. Their mission: to prove that humanity's warning was empty bravado. In the final moments before the Cthair made their presence known, Galactic received a second transmission from Earth. Unlike the first, this one was directed at a specific point in space, exactly where the Cthair fleet was hiding. "We can see you. Last chance. Please don't make us angry." The Cthair laughed. They shouldn't have. Supreme Commander Zexnar's first demonstration of power was intended to be subtle, by Cthair standards. A single warship decloaked above Earth's largest military installation, its crystalline hull refracting sunlight across the New Mexican desert. The message they broadcast was simple: kneel or burn. The humans responded with silence. In the Federation Council, alarms blared as unauthorized first contact protocols were breached. High Counselor Naveen watched in horror as the Cthair violated generations of carefully crafted diplomatic procedure. "Recall them immediately," she demanded, but the Cthair representatives had already left the chamber. On Earth, military commanders stared at their screens as the alien vessel hung in the sky, its presence defying every known law of physics. General Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force received reports from every major military power, all confirming the same thing. They had been preparing for this moment. "Interesting," she said, studying the vessel's energy readings. "They're not even trying to block our scans." The Kther warship's commander, Subleader Kexvar, was enjoying the humans' apparent paralysis. In his experience, primitive species typically responded to the Kther's arrival in one of two ways: immediate surrender or futile aggression. The humans were doing neither. "They cower in fear," he announced to his crew. "Prepare the demonstration weapon." In the Federation Council chamber, Velatix's urgent message interrupted the chaos. "Counselors, you need to see this. The humans, they're transmitting something." The message was being broadcast on all frequencies, in perfect Kther language. "We warned you nicely. We studied your ship for the last 3 hours. Would you like to know what we learned?" Before Kexver could respond, his ship's defensive systems began failing. Not in cascade, not in any pattern that made sense, but in a seemingly random sequence that defied every cybersecurity protocol the Kther had developed over millennia. "Impossible," Kexver snarled. "Their technology is primitive. They can't." The ship's artificial gravity reversed, then normalized, then reversed again in a nauseating rhythm that sent crew members crashing against bulkheads. Environmental systems began cycling through random settings. The ship's quantum communications array started broadcasting what humans called "never gonna give you up" to every Kther frequency. In the Federation Council, the xenotechnologists were baffled. "Their methods are chaotic," one reported. "They're not following any known system of cyber warfare. They're just trying everything, all at once, learning from what works." General Chen watched the alien ship's erratic movements with satisfaction. "Turns out," she commented to her staff, "when you spend centuries fighting yourself, you get really good at finding weaknesses in defense systems. Send the next message." The Kther ship received it moments later. "This was a test. We've identified 2,147 vulnerabilities in your systems. Would you like us to demonstrate more? Or would you prefer to leave? You have 5 minutes to decide." Kexver, his pride wounded but his tactical mind still functioning, made the only logical choice. The Kther warship retreated, its once impressive crystalline hull now pulsing with random colors like a cosmic disco ball. But the Kther Dominion had never taken humiliation well. As Kexver's ship limped back to their territory, Supreme Commander Zexnar was already preparing a response. Not a single ship this time, but a fleet. The humans had shown cleverness, yes, but surely they couldn't stand against the full might of the Dominion's armada. In the Federation Council, Naveen turned to her fellow counselors. "We must intervene. The Kther will not stop until—" She was interrupted by another transmission from Earth, this one addressed to the entire council. "We asked nicely. We demonstrated gently. What happens next is not our fault." The xenoanthropologists added a new node to humanity's file. "They don't make threats. They make promises." The Kther battle fleet emerged from hyperspace like a swarm of crystalline wasps, 300 ships strong. Their formation was perfect, each vessel positioned according to combat doctrines refined over 10,000 years. Supreme Commander Zexnar stood on his command bridge, mandibles clicking with anticipation. "Let them witness true power," he commanded. But Earth was empty. No ships in orbit, no stations, no satellites. Even the debris field of human space junk had vanished. Long-range scans showed cities still bustling with life, but every trace of human space presence had disappeared. In the Federation Council, the impossible readings caused an uproar. "A species can't just vanish their space infrastructure," protested the Moravian representative. "The energy requirements alone." That's when they noticed what humans called the internet had gone silent. Every broadcast, every transmission, every digital signal from Earth had ceased. The planet had gone dark. General Chen sat in the heart of Project Twilight, a facility buried deep beneath the Antarctic ice. Around her, banks of quantum computers processed data from sensors hidden throughout the solar system. "Are the dampeners working?" she asked. Dr. Patel, their chief physicist, nodded. "The Kthair can't detect any emissions. As far as they can tell, we've technologically regressed a century overnight." "Good," Chen smiled. "Begin Phase 2. The first sign that something was wrong came from the Kthair fleet's outer patrol. Ships began reporting sensor ghosts. Brief flickers of something almost there, then gone. Engineering crews diagnosed equipment malfunctions, but couldn't find any causes. Then the anomalies began. Small at first, unexplained power fluctuations, brief communication static, navigation systems showing impossible readings. The Kthair ran diagnostic after diagnostic, finding nothing wrong with their systems. "They're trying to frighten us with tricks," Zexnar declared. "Begin the attack pattern. Show them what happens to species who dare to resist the Dominion." The fleet moved forward, weapons charging. That's when Phase 3 began. Throughout the solar system, thousands of tiny objects suddenly shed their stealth fields. The humans had spent the last 3 months seeding space with what they called fireflies, autonomous drones smaller than a human fist, powered by miniaturized fusion reactors. Each firefly carried no weapons. They didn't need to. Instead, they carried something far more dangerous: innovation. The first wave struck the Kthair fleet's communication systems, not with brute force cyber attacks, but with data. Petabytes of information, cat videos, spam emails, social media arguments, and every piece of digital content humans had created over the past century, slammed into the Kthair networks. The crystalline ship's quantum processors, designed for efficiency and perfect order, struggled to handle the chaotic flood of human culture. Systems crashed as artificial intelligences tried to make sense of memes. Secondary computers failed trying to analyze Twitter threads. "What is this madness?" Zexnar roared as his flagship systems displayed endless loops of dancing babies and cryptocurrency advertisements. The second wave of fireflies targeted the fleet's sensors with what humans called ghost data, quantum-entangled particles creating false readings that showed phantom fleets appearing and disappearing at random. The Kthair's perfect formation began to break as ships maneuvered to avoid attacks that weren't there. In Project Twilight, General Chen watched the chaos unfold. "Humans didn't become the apex predators of Earth through strength alone," she commented. "We did it by being the most adaptable, the most unpredictable, and the most annoying species on the planet." Begin Phase 4. That's when the solar system itself seemed to turn against the Kthair. Hidden gravitational manipulators, placed on asteroids throughout the system, activated. Space itself began to ripple and twist. The perfect laws of physics that the Kthair relied upon stopped being quite so perfect. "Status report," Zexnar demanded, but his crew was too busy trying to stop their ship's entertainment system from playing something humans called Baby Shark on infinite loop. The Federation Council watched in stunned silence as the mighty Kthair battle fleet was reduced to chaos not by superior firepower, but by what one human philosopher had once called weaponized absurdity. A new transmission finally broke through the chaos, broadcast on all frequencies. "We could have built bigger guns. We could have made stronger shields. Instead, we decided to think differently. Still want to play? We have more ideas." The Kthair Dominion's retreat was anything but dignified. Ships limped away in disarray, their once perfect formation scattered across space like broken glass. Some vessels' systems were so thoroughly compromised that they could only move in spiral patterns, their navigation computers convinced they were participating in something humans called a flash mob. Supreme Commander Zexnar's flagship fared little better. Its primary systems had been reduced to displaying an endless stream of cat videos, while the emergency backup computers had somehow developed an addiction to human social media. The ship's AI was now demanding likes before it would operate the life support systems. In the Federation Council chamber, the silence was deafening. Species that had considered themselves the height of technological advancement watched in stunned disbelief as a primitive civilization had effectively defeated one of the galaxy's most powerful military forces without destroying a single ship. "Fascinating," murmured Dr. Till, the Federation's leading genopsychologist. "They didn't just defeat the Kther, they humiliated them, but not through cruelty, through absurdity." High Counselor Naveen called an emergency session. The chamber's quantum displays showed recordings of the battle, if it could even be called that. "We must understand," she declared, "what we are dealing with." General Chen's next transmission to the Federation arrived right on cue. "We trust our point has been made. Now shall we talk about peaceful diplomatic relations? We brought cookies." The Moravian representative's confusion was palpable. Cookies. In the midst of this crisis, they offer baked goods. A human diplomatic vessel appeared in Federation space shortly after. It was smaller than expected, painted in cheerful colors, and emblazoned with the words, "Peace through superior creativity," on its hull. The human ambassadorial team stepped into the council chamber carrying actual cookies. Ambassador Marcus Wong addressed the council with a warm smile. "We apologize for the theatrics, but we felt it necessary to demonstrate why our initial warning should be taken seriously. We don't enjoy conflict. We'd much prefer friendship, trade, and cultural exchange." The cookies, by the way, are chocolate chip, a human delicacy. The Federation's diplomatic course was baffled by the rapid shift from technological warfare to casual diplomacy. The Kther representatives were notably absent, their ships still trying to purge their systems of something humans called rickrolling. "But why?" asked Naveen, accepting a cookie with careful curiosity. "Why warn us about your anger, only to respond with humor?" Ambassador Wong's expression grew serious. "Because anger is our last resort, not our first response. We've learned from our own history that raw anger leads to destruction. But focused anger, controlled anger, that leads to innovation. We didn't want to hurt the Kther. We wanted to teach them a lesson. By infecting their ships with your entertainment data," a Zoraxian delegate asked incredulously. "By showing them that power isn't everything," Wong corrected. "Humanity's strength isn't in our weapons or our technology. It's in our adaptability, our creativity, and yes, our sense of humor. We can be your greatest allies or your worst nightmare. And we'd much prefer to be allies." The council chambers buzzed with discussion. The humans had demonstrated power, yes, but more importantly, they had shown restraint. They had the capability to destroy the Kther fleet but chose instead to embarrass them with minimal harm. Dr. Till's report to the council said it best. "Humans are not merely another spacefaring species. They are something we've never encountered before. A species that turns chaos into strategy, humor into weapons, and warnings into teaching moments. They don't just think outside the box. They question why the box exists in the first place." In orbit around Earth, the last of the Firefly drones deactivated their stealth fields, revealing an invisible network that had transformed the entire solar system into what General Chen called the galaxy's biggest practical joke. "Should we tell them about the other contingency plans?" Dr. Patel asked her. Chen smiled. "Let's save something for the next lesson. After all, we did warn them nicely." 6 months after what became known as the Cookie Incident, the galaxy had changed. The Federation's archives now contained a new classification for emerging civilizations, human-type anomalous. The definitions simply read, "Approach with respect. Bring snacks." The Kther Dominion had undergone the most dramatic transformation. After 3 months of their fleet's AI systems demanding social media validation before executing commands, they had reluctantly opened diplomatic channels with Earth. The resulting cultural exchange was unprecedented. "You mean to tell me," Supreme Commander Zexnar asked Ambassador Wong during their first official meeting, "that your species invented memes as a form of communication before you achieved faster-than-light travel?" "Well," Wong replied, sipping his tea, How else would we cope with the existential dread of not having faster-than-light travel? The Federation Council had turned its great analytical minds to understanding humanity's unique approach to problem-solving. They discovered that what they had initially dismissed as primitive behavior was actually a sophisticated survival strategy refined over millennia. Dr. Till's comprehensive report became required reading for all diplomatic corps. Humans don't evolve to specialize like other species. Instead, they remain deliberately unspecialized, maintaining the ability to adapt to nearly any situation. This extends beyond their biology to their problem-solving methods. Where we see chaos, they see possibilities. Where we seek perfection, they embrace imperfection as a source of strength. The report included a curious footnote. Also, they appear to have weaponized their entire culture, not through malice, but through what they call creativity. Even their entertainment can be repurposed for defense. The implications are simultaneously terrifying and fascinating. General Chen's innovative defense strategy had sparked a revolution in military thinking across the galaxy. Species that had relied on brute force for millennia began exploring more creative approaches. The Kther Military Academy now included a mandatory course titled Understanding Human Mimetic Warfare. But perhaps the most profound change came in how the galaxy's civilizations approached first contact with new species. The Federation's standard protocols were rewritten to include what became known as the human principle, the understanding that technological advancement and civilization were not always measured by the same metrics. In Project Twilight, now renamed the Galactic Cultural Exchange Initiative, Dr. Patel and General Chen watched a holographic display of the latest Federation session. Representatives from 1,000 worlds debated the implications of human membership in the galactic community. Should we tell them about the other defense systems we developed? Dr. Patel asked. Chen smiled, watching a Kther delegate awkwardly attempt to explain human humor to a confused Moravian. Let them figure it out gradually. Sometimes the best defense is letting others wonder what else you might be capable of. Ambassador Wang's address to the Federation Council summed up humanity's new role in the galaxy. We warned you about making us angry not because we wanted to threaten you, but because we wanted to avoid conflict. You see, humans don't just fight with weapons, we fight with ideas, with creativity, with innovation. And yes, sometimes with cat videos and cookies. We'd rather make friends than enemies, rather share jokes than trade blows, rather solve problems than create them. But if pushed, we will defend ourselves with everything we have, including our sense of humor. The Zoraxian delegation's response entered galactic records as a historic moment. We formally moved to accept human membership in the Federation, if only to ensure they never again have reason to demonstrate their creativity in defensive matters. In the end, humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology, their adaptability, or even their capacity for warfare. It was their ability to turn adversity into opportunity, conflict into cooperation, and warnings into wisdom. The Federation learned that power came in many forms, and sometimes the most formidable species weren't those with the biggest weapons, but those who had figured out how to win without using them at all. And somewhere in deep space, a Kther battle cruiser's AI was still trying to understand why humans found cats in boxes so entertaining.